There you go. Using video actually helps get the message across to people, right? And it shows you're tech savvy. Shows you're tech savvy, and we want to do that. In fact, this slide I thought was perfect. The class that I had taken, or the webinar I listened to, the instructor said that in her opinion, technology is not going to take over. Technology is not going to replace agents. Technology will not replace agents because there's a definite need for us. But a tech savvy agent will replace a regular agent, right? An agent that uses technology will replace a regular agent. People understand how important it is to be able to get the message out there, and that message being that their property is for sale and what can be done with it, etc. And video helps. So in this handout, there's also scripts for the video, and this one seems a little long for me, but I can see it working, right? But there's scripts in here for each one of these that let me see. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the chat. There's a question in here about the so it's seller's disclosure, information about brokerage services, listing agreement, buyer rep agreement, and the 1-to-4 family contract. Listing agreement was what was missing, Peggy. All right, so on the script, this is one of them. This is just an example script for video, and they have in that handout, they have several of them, right? Here's the one where you have the buyer. Please don't tell a for sale by owner that you have a buyer if you don't have one. So in fact, Texas Realtors, one of the things they told us years ago was, if you're going to tell a for sale by owner you have a buyer, you probably need to have a buyer rep agreement, right? Because if it ever become an issue, you want to make sure that you have documentation on it. So just throw that out there. That pertained more to the phone calling than it did the home visit, but please know that that's one of the options that are there. And then of course we had for sale by owner, do you have representation? And if I'm at this point with the for sale by owner, where we're talking about representation, and the for sale by owner says they don't have representation and they wanted us to work with them, what would be one of the forms we could possibly use?
Broker to owner.
Which one?
Broker to owner.
Yes, broker to owner. Yes, yeah. Agreement between broker and owner. The agreement between broker and owner, right? And we want to do that to make sure that we actually have something with them, so that we can continue to work with them, right? If they wanted to do something, we could make that work, and that will spell out everything that needs to be done. All right. Any questions there? So I just threw in the chat the link for this handout, and I'm going to go to the handout so you guys can see it. Maybe. Yeah. Let me do this real quick. I just want to show you a couple pages out of here. Well, more than a couple, but just a few pages out of here. So this is I just put the link in there so you guys can open it up. It's a PDF version. You can open it up and use it. This is out of the momentum package. This is the script for the video, the same one we were just talking about that was on the slide. Let me enlarge that a little bit so you can see it. So you have everything in there that you need for the scripts, the planning for the for sale by owners, and et cetera. Everything I show you on the slides is in there as well. Any questions on those? All right, so let me pause this. I'm going to go down for a little bit and go down, scroll down here. There is, all right, in the book, in that handout, and this is another reason why I want to share this with you. In that handout, if you scroll down from the page or I was on, or you flip over to it, whatever, it's 100 ways to sell your home fast and for more money. And actually, I used to use a handout, and I've shared it with a couple people in the office, but in the mission office, I used to use a handout that I'd give for sale by owners that said, how to sell your home for the most money without paying a high commission, which kind of sounds like you're shooting yourself in the foot, but I found it to work. It's something I was taught to use in Austin and I loved it. I found it to work quite well. I only had it in English. I did not have it in Spanish, but you could probably convert it over if you wanted to. But anyway, 100 ways to sell your home fast and for more money. And what this is nothing more than a list of things that a seller can do to make their home more marketable. Right? When you look at this, is there anything that comes to mind for you? No? Okay. Could this be used by you, or could it be used by one of your listings as maybe a checklist of things to do to make the home sell? Could you take something like this and convert it into a handout that you're using for your listing presentation, something you present to the seller on things they can do?
Yes.
Something as simple as investing in a new doormat, right? So it's all nasty looking when they walk up to the door. But anyway, it's 100. There's 100 of them on here that you can use, and all of them have little parts about the house, things they can do that we may not normally think about. Consider adding an attractive coordinated throw rug in the laundry room. Coordinated throw rug, right? Meaning that it matches other things, not something that's all nasty and worn out, right? Which sometimes what you see in a laundry room. So it covers all the different rooms in the house. And once again, the reason I wanted to show that to you is so that in my mind, when I go through this, I look at it and say, okay, I could use this as a handout. I could use this as a handout for just about everything real estate related. I could probably take something like this and turn it into a PDF and post it on my website. I could probably take something like this and use it as a marketing piece. I could maybe take something like this and take each one of these and make a quick video for the next 100 days about how to sell your home, right? There's all kinds of ways just this one little list of 100 ways to sell your home could be used. But you have to do something with it. So inside here, there's also the money aspect of it, right? Money. Talks about the points. What are points? How are they figured out? It has the title insurance. How does that work? Right. So again, this is another one. When I went through it, I'm looking at it going, you know what? That would make a nice piece as well for a for sale by owner, because a lot of them don't understand how that works. I mean, think about the people that have called you and said, I want to list my home for sale. And you went out and sat down with them and you talked to them about the process, and they go through that with you, right? Like, for example, I've sat at kitchen tables with sellers and said, here's an estimated net sheet. And you notice, you go through it with them and you notice right here, I included buyer's closing costs, because normally buyers in this area use FHA and they're going to ask the seller to pay for some of the closing costs. And I've had sellers to go, oh, no. Nobody helped us buy this house. We're not going to help them. Right. So that's something that I incorporated into every listing presentation, because I want to set those expectations now that that's going to be asked for. If it's not, okay. And I know today's market's a little different. I get that. But people are still asking for it and some are getting it. Right. So anyway, all those things are in there. And then they also have this one, which is checklist. And this is the last part of this one. On here, when we look at it, it's the checklist. Transaction gets accepted, right? Your offer gets accepted. We now have a contract. What do we need to do next? So this checklist could be used a couple different ways. Maybe for the seller on a for sale by owner. Maybe we could use it with our seller. Maybe we could do it with the current listing, right? Give this to them as a summary of their contract that was just accepted, right? Or their offer that was just accepted. We could give it out as a handout at an open house, would work great, right? Here's some of the things that needs to happen when you actually get an offer accepted, because that shows that you have knowledge. What about possibly using this in zip forms where you set up your task in zip forms? You write your offer in zip form. If the offer gets accepted, you set it up so that task list becomes automatic. As soon as you go in and say, I now have a contract, boom, this pops up. Set that up as your task in zip forms, right? And there's several of them in here. Well, there's 3 of them, I think there is actually. So you have from that portion of it where the contract gets accepted, you have the moving and another moving page for out of towners and et cetera. Any questions on any of those? Nope. Okay. All right. Now, what I'd like to do is share some of the information with you that I was talking about earlier. And what we're going to do here is we're talking about for sale by owners. We want to stand out. We want to do something different, right? And those of you that indicated you are working with for sale by owners or you're interested in working for them, you want to do something special. You have to be careful about the way you do it. In other words, we want to do it the right way. Not necessarily be careful, but we want to do it the right way. And the other thing is we want to use some of the tools that we have. So I also ask how many of you were familiar with Canva or use Canva. I want to show you how you can tie some of this together with a for sale by owner real quick. And using Remax. Everybody ready? All right. So here is a website that was built out through Booj. Not that it's all bells and whistles, because it's not, because I built it out. And there's time restrictions, right? Just like some of you guys. So here's a website that's built out by Booj. There's a couple things I want to show you. One is, I don't know whether you guys know it or not, but one of the, right now, if you go out to eat in a restaurant, what do they have on the table or what do they tell you to do?
They have a QR code and you scan it to get your menu and all that.
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it. Yeah, scan that QR code, right? I don't know how many times I've had to do that. And initially it used to bug the dickens out of me, but today I get it. It's a lot better. It's cleaner. It's, you know, and national trainers are pushing that same thing now. We're starting to see more and more of it. It's coming back. It was here once before, didn't work out too well, but now it seems like it's back and I think it's going to be here to stay. So check this out. When you have a website up, and it doesn't matter what the website is, if you'll click up here at the top where the URL is, when you click up here, the QR code is right there. There's a QR code for that website. So you have 2 options. You can download the QR code or you can copy the link that's in here, right? Now, that's not real fancy. Why would I want to do that? Well, the whole idea behind me sharing this with you is because when I send a marketing piece out, I used to always put my website address on that postcard. Always put my website address on the postcard. Today, what they're saying is we're still going to do it, but we're going to do it with a QR code, right? And that's working according to some of the national trainers. But let me show you one step further, please. Right here is a listing, which by the way is pending. Thank you. So again, I can click up here in the URL. There's the QR code for that specific property. I can take this link right here. I can take that link. Everybody good there? I can take that link. I'm not going to download that QR code because I don't want that QR code, right? I mean, if I was just driving traffic to my website, I could take that QR code, but I don't want to do that. I want to do this. I'm going to take that link and I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to come back over here to Max Center, right? Remax.net. I'm going to go to URL shortener, which I have opened up right here. I'm going to click on create a link. I'm going to plug that URL in here. I'm going to go up here and click on create a name for it. Right. Okay, logged out due to inactivity. That figures. That figures. I was messing with this early this morning. Let me redo this real quick for you. Yeah. What would life be if it was simple, right? So again, I'm going to plug in that URL code. I'm sorry, the URL. I'm going to click on create. So now I have, you see this one right here, right? Everybody see that top one? All right. So when I click on the down arrow, the drop down arrow, it shows me there's not anything there. And here's why I want you to do this way. If you'll go to your website that you've created, pull up one of your listings. If you're going to market around the property just listed, just sold or open house, this is awesome. I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to take this, click on the three dots, and I'm going to copy. So what I'm copying is this shortened URL. Everybody good there? And then I'm going to come over here to Canva. I have Canva opened, and on the left-hand side, when you go to Canva, so let me just go to the home page here real quick, if it didn't lock me out as well. All right, yeah. So on the left-hand side, you see the three little dots at the bottom. When you click on the three little dots, it opens up all the apps that work with Canva. And this is some of the stuff I was messing with. You do things like this, off the wall things, QR codes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a QR code. So we took our website for a specific property. We plug it into the URL over at URL shortener over at remax.net. We come over here, we plug it in here and generate a QR code. All right. So if you guys will do me a favor and just scan that QR code real quick, I'd appreciate it. So my goal in Canva is to take that QR code and actually put it on a postcard that I want to send out to, the neighborhood, or maybe I'm doing something for marketing. I can do the same thing with marketing stats. There's so many different possibilities here. And you put that QR code on your postcard, right? I can put that QR code on a postcard, say, for more information about my listings or more information about this listing, scan the QR code, right? That will allow you to do some additional things for it. One of them will be this. Here's where we did that at, right? We're back over to remax.net. Here's where we got the shortened URL that we use for the QR code. When you click on that drop down, and this is what's really cool about this, when I click on the drop down, let me refresh it. There we go. I click on the drop down, it'll show me how many people actually clicked on that. So 12 people actually clicked on the QR code like I asked. So now you're finding out how effective your marketing is. You just sent out a just listed postcard to a subdivision or to your sphere of influence with the QR code, how many people actually used it? And if it's not working, what do we need to do to fix that? Does that make sense? All right. So now we're going to go one step further. And this is the part that I was talking about being careful with a little bit, right? I asked at the very beginning of this, how many of you have built out your own Booj website? If you built out your Booj website, your listings are on here. And so are others if you allow that, right? We have all of the company's listings on here. Is the way we have it set up, right? That's the one she has pending. Thank you. So then we want to go over to Booge. We want to go over to Booge. And if you go to where it has a website, go to your pages. It's probably logged me out too. Yeah, no, doesn't look like it. And up in the upper right-hand corner, it has add a page. So I can create a new page. I can create one from a template. This is just a thought, and I don't have this all, it's not nice and pretty or any of that good stuff yet. But here's a page that I've added that says for sale by owner properties. For sale by owner properties. If I talk to a for sale by owner and they go, you know, I don't really want to list my property for sale. And I go through the scripts and I say something like, would you consider paying a commission if I brought a buyer? Well, yeah. And a lot of times they'll say yes, right? I do that. What was the name of that form? Broker to owner, right? Broker to owner form. We get an agreement from them that we're going to do that. We let them know that we're going to put it on our website. So then I go over here and I create this website by clicking on add a page up here, add a new page. You get this. You can edit it, whatever you need to do to it. You can add blocks to it once you get it created, right? It'll allow you to do that. Once you have it set up, let's go back here to the website pages. And on the for sale by owner, on this one, what I have is this. So now that QR code will take you to that same property, right? And you don't need to click on that, but I just wanted to show you, if you have a page on your website that says for sale by owner properties, maybe a disclaimer on there that the owner has authorized us to advertise their property as a for sale by owner, just food for thought, just for thought. And you have a QR code on there. It's not listed, right? It's not a listing. So like the clear cooperation policy says that if you have a property listed, it has to be an MLS. It's not listed. It's a for sale by owner. It's a courtesy to the owner. And you might include something like that. This is just food for thought. I'm just off the wall. But if you scan that QR code, it would take you to that property, right? And this is not a real property. That is a real QR code, but you could do something like this. I've worked with agents in the past where they had for sale by owner properties. You click on a link and here was a list of for sale by owners. There's a PDF version they had in there on their website, and they would update it on a weekly basis as we found more for sale by owners. And
But
when
you
I was
need to
playing with
have that
this,
form, right? But you need to have the
Absolutely.
form. And
Right.
okay.
yes, do not do it without that form. So to do that, you also need information about brokerage services, right? And then share this with the owner. Let them know that you have this and that you're shooting for that. And if the buyers click on this, it takes them back to your website to that specific property. Does that make sense? If you have it listed, if you don't have it listed, you don't have it listed, then and it's a for sale by owner, you can create just a block for that goes to an information sheet or pictures of the property or something you created within here, right? As just a food for thought. Because you can, on this block, you can add, when we went back to the page here, I could add other things to this. So you have all the different blocks that you can add to this page on the for sale by owner. Gabino, I like that office, dude. It's cool, moving up. New York style. Yeah. All right, anybody have any questions on that? Okey-doke. Well, I appreciate it. If you have not set, go ahead.
Can we use that on Booge? I mean, on Breakthrough Broker? Because I've been using Breakthrough Broker a lot and I've done a lot of videos, and like at first I was like timid about it, but I've gotten like practice on it. And can we do that on there as well?
Do what part of it?
The URL code through Booge, like for marketing?
So if you create the video on if you create the video on Breakthrough Broker,
Mhm.
is that what you're saying?
Yes,
When you create it, do they allow you to download it?
yes. Well, I bought the $10 one. I think it's $10 for the whole year. So it allows you, I mean, I've come up with videos that I'm like even surprised that I did that. I mean, they're amazing. Like I'm so like surprised, like literally.
I would imagine, I don't know what their copyright rules are and stuff like that, but if you've created it and you can download it, you should have access to it where you can take that URL link and copy and put it in. The reason I say put it in Remax.net to use the shortener was just so we could do the tracking side of it.
Oh, wow.
That's all. We want to see how effective it is.
Mac,
And
I saw the Naviga generates a code for your listings too, and you can
Right, they
download
do.
too. Mhm.
Yeah, yes. The only issue with that, again, it's just like if I go to that website like this and I click on and I download this URL code, I don't have a way to track it. So if Naviga, years ago, I don't know if they do now or not, but if Naviga has this link, I could use this and create one within Naviga. But normally the way they used to have it was you click on the property and say, I want a QR code, and it would create one for you for that property, but it drives it to Naviga's site, not your site. So I mean, it still works, but Naviga's getting the push on the
Yes, the viewer.
Google,
Yes, I
Google
got it.
Juice or whatever you call it. Yeah. All right. But Diana, I would definitely do it and put it, as far as putting it on Booj, absolutely. If you've created it, you can go in here and put it in your website on Booj and make that work for you. There's so many moving parts to that. Thing keeps locking me out. So many moving parts to that website and the pages, there's not a limit on it. One of the things that was discussed the other day in a class was having an individual property website. Oops, wrong place. There you go. Having an individual property website with its own domain name. And there's ways to do that. We used to do that through Realbird and Weebly. Used to have them set up that way, but it'd say weebly.com / and then it would have an address on it, right? So it's not a real URL to the property. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It was driving traffic to Weebly, I guess is what I'm getting at, instead of to our website. But I would definitely, I would give that a shot. If you need help with it, let me know. We'll see what we can do with it. Anyway, anybody have any other questions or comments?
Hey, Mac, do we have anybody on? I can't see the attendee list on my phone, but do we have anybody from Corpus on the training this morning?
Carrie was in here.
I'm
she's in
here.
And Michelle,
Michelle?
yes. Yes.
Michelle.
And
Hi.
Sean,
Hi, guys. Well, don't forget we have a happy hour tonight in Corpus.
yes,
Not
well,
to
I'll be
not to
there.
make anybody in Mission or
Come
Port
on,
Isabel
Norma.
jealous.
I'll be there.
Okay, we'll see
We're
you guys
used to it
tonight.
already, Norma. Don't worry.
Oh,
We made
stop.
it 3-hour driving.
We're used to being the unloved child. Don't worry.
Oh, stop it.
Let's do a road
Can
trip.
you tell us the address? We still make it to Corpus right now.
We'll see you guys tonight.
Bye.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great day.
Bye.
Thank
Keep
you.
right-
Bye.
Likewise, Mike. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Mac.
Bye.